What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off what the charts are showing and based off what the data is suggesting. I'm also going to break down some very important pieces of data for Tesla, talk about some very big updates coming out from an analyst that believes Tesla should be at $1,245 a share, and also break down some very important tweets from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Elon Musk, as he has some big updates involving the full self-driving beta technology. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into the details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And you could always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. It is a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 1 week. Please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, this thing was down 2.28% for the day, a little bit red in the after hours. And overall, we are seeing a bit of a downtrend that's being respected. But it's not just Tesla, it's the overall market that's taking a bit of a hit. So I do apologize for my video from yesterday. I did think that Tesla would actually hold up a lot better than how it did today. And we are seeing some signs that are not necessarily that good, seeing this downtrend in Tesla dropping below 880. Now, the thing about Tesla, and one of the mistakes I often make, and I want to admit that, is when we have big events like the stock split, or like really huge things, I often make the presumption that Tesla will kind of hold its range a lot better than how often it ends up doing. And that's because the market is just sometimes very capricious. Sometimes the market is very unpredictable and it does things in a very illogical way. So sometimes if the market's like super bullish, Tesla can make a big move based off news. And stock splits are historically like really big events for big stocks that can really push the share prices up. But in this case, it doesn't look like it's going to push Tesla up that much. I think that maybe we could get a bit of a push up right before and maybe a little after, but after that, it still looks like it's going to follow the overall trend based off what the market is doing. And the market's looking pretty darn bearish as we have the FOMC meeting coming up. So my sentiment is still more on the bearish side, unfortunately. Now, you shouldn't necessarily look at this as a bad thing because there's always opportunities in the market no matter which direction we're looking at. So I want to just make that as clear as possible and now do another analysis on Tesla in the market. So looking at SPY, and the reason I talk about SPY is very important. It affects the whole market. It represents the whole market. You could see there's a very similar setup between SPY and Tesla. SPY is also gapping down just like this. The volume isn't that great. If I actually look up the daily, the volume increased a bit, but overall it's just dropping again and again and again. And what I'm essentially seeing is this increase in volume today after that drop that happened from SPY. So that's an indication that we are going to see some downside from there. And SPY looks very bearish in my honest opinion, guys. I think it's going to come down to the 400s very, very soon. 400 flat. It's going to fight for it. We dropped below the $420 level of support. And we didn't get the bounce I initially thought we could get. It's just going to continue to come down from here. So I am pretty bearish from here. And I think it's going to have an effect on Tesla because when you look at Tesla, and I'm sorry, let me look this up. If you look at Tesla and the SPY, very, very similar price action tends to end up happening. So what you'll notice is both of them are starting to respect this downtrend right here when you compare them. If you look at the comparison from a percentage basis, you can see right here, Tesla's notorious for having a higher beta. So Tesla tends to move in a more volatile way than the overall market and SPY. So when SPY has those down days, Tesla has a tendency of being down just as much as well. And what's very interesting though is if you look at NASDAQ, Tesla didn't actually have that bad of a day. NASDAQ's down like 2.55%. Tesla could have been down like 5% or even more than that, right? Tesla was actually only down about, let me see, about 2%. So it was actually down not as bad as the NASDAQ, but overall it is still respecting a downtrend. It still looks kind of bearish. So I'm going to be looking for that 840 range as a key zone. Now I'm going to use a Fibonacci retracement in a separate chart for you. Then I'm going to talk about what my price prediction is real quick. So right here, I have a Fibonacci retracement that's essentially drawn right here, and we have the golden pocket right here. So what you'll notice is the key zone for Tesla is 840 is one of the key zones because we could form a double bottom there. That's also where the 200 EMA is. It's very close to what the 200 EMA is. But if you look at it at Tesla on the daily chart, the 200 EMA is at like 833, the low 8 830s, and that's where the golden pocket is. So we might actually try to bounce off 831 from here. So it does look like this thing is going to come down to the low 800s going into like the later weeks. So maybe going into like next week, maybe a little bit later, I do see a big rug pull coming. And if it becomes really bad, we do have a gap all the way down in the 700, the high 700s basically. So it is possible for that to happen. I wouldn't necessarily count on that just yet. We want to see how this reacts to that 830 to 840 range. As we are seeing implied volatility come down, it looks like that's most likely where this thing will be going within the next 2 weeks, in my opinion. So what does this mean for Tesla? On a daily basis, let me do this. I'm going to bring back my other drawings so I can show you guys the other support and resistance levels. And what you'll notice is similar trend with SPY. We are stair stepping our way to the downside. Since that time, we were at like 940. We came down. It looked like we wanted to push up, then we came down again. And we're just like gapping down, trading sideways, gapping down, trading sideways. The trend looks like it's probably going to continue. But the thing is, 858 is a very key support. So we actually bounced off that. And if you watched my previous video, I told you, if we broke below 880, if we ended up actually dropping, look out for 858. That's exactly where we bounced. I mentioned that in my previous video. So now what's going to happen from here? Well, if Tesla, give me 1 second. If Tesla does push to the upside, this thing is going to try to fight its resistance at 880 or around that range. And if we push above that, then we have a gap around like 890, then 900 is going to be resistance. Now, do I see this all happening in one day? I mean, it's possible, but a little bit unlikely given the trend. If Tesla comes down, 858 is going to be the support zone. We actually bounced off that, but it looks like if we continue with this trend, it's going to start to come down and break below that all the way down to 840. Now, the key zone would be between 840 and 830. I want to see this thing bounce around here. I think we're going to get lots of volatility like right here, and we're going to just bounce back and forth with lots of action there. And we may get a slight bounce off that, but it really depends on the market. But that's really the zone I'm going to be looking out for over the next, I would say, week or so. So that's essentially what this is showing. And as far as the EMAs go, I'm actually going to show you guys that a little bit later. For tomorrow, I see a continuation essentially happening. It's not looking the best. And let me draw this out for you. I'm going to use a polyline. Tomorrow into open, I mean, I'm really hoping we don't get another gap down like that. I mean, if we do get these gaps to the downside, remember, in the future, we will start filling these gaps to the upside again. So it is going to come back to the 900s, the 1000s. But right now, what I'm essentially seeing is there could be a gap down, a slight one that won't be as bad. And this thing's going to fight for 858. If it doesn't hold 858, because it's looking pretty bearish right now, so is SPY, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla comes all the way down to 840, all the way down to 840, and then bounces off that, trades a little bit sideways, tries to push up. It might actually push up to about like 858, get rejected off that, trade sideways again and see another kind of like boring close, just like what we just saw. And we could actually have a somewhat red day. So I wouldn't be surprised if we close around 850, maybe 854 around there. So I am anticipating it coming down to this range right here. Now, if the market's super bearish, we're going to test a very key zone. And that's something else you have to watch for as well. But this is essentially what I'm predicting from now. Another red day going into tomorrow. I think the market is just not looking that strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla closes around the 850s and ends up coming down just like that. Now, there is something I want to show you. Let me hide these one more time and then actually bring up my EMAs. So on the daily, check this out. As far as the EMAs go, we're starting to get this like curl right here. And we can see we're actually dropping on the volume, which is pretty low. It's not looking that good. But we're getting a curl right here from the 13 EMA, and it looks like we're about to get a 1348 EMA crossover soon if we continue to keep going down. That's a very bearish signal. And then another thing is right here, the 200 EMA is around 833. So I think we could try to bounce off this and maybe kind of fight, and that's why I talked about 830 to 840 being a key zone. But if we break below this, it's not going to look good over the next couple of weeks. This thing could end up coming down and filling the gap all the way down here. Now, I really hate to say that. I know you guys want Tesla to just rally. I know it doesn't look good on a lot of people who are just holding shares portfolios. I understand the pain you're going through. And that's why I want to just mention that during times like these, you could do whatever you want with your money. If you're just going to buy the dips, that's completely fine. But there are other opportunities in the market as well to make money during these downtrends. And an example could be like the UVXY or the Ultra VIX, which has a tendency of being inversely correlated with the markets. As the market pushes up, it has a tendency of actually pushing down. And as the market actually drops, you can see the market was pushing up. This thing was actually coming down for some time. Now the market's starting to drop, and you can see it's starting to gap up, it's starting to push up. So I'm actually pretty bullish on the UVXY over the next couple of weeks. So that's just another one of the examples I have for the big opportunities to come for the future. You can actually buy calls on this if you want. Not telling you to do that, not financial advice, but I'm letting you know that there are lots of opportunities out there as well to make money on either side, no matter which direction the market goes in. As for Tesla, I gave you guys my prediction. Watch out for these key zones and be ready for the future. Now, for the short term, yeah, maybe we are bearish. Hopefully, we do get a slight bounce going into like the stock split. If we don't, it's also okay. We're probably going to just continue to go down. But remember, the long term is still really, really amazing. I don't even need to go into the full details about why. But I want to talk about something an analyst who is known as I forgot his name. His name is Garrett Nelson. He's a Wall Street CFRA analyst, and he said something very important about Tesla. He believes Tesla is 40% undervalued after the Inflation Reduction Act was signed. Now, I'm not necessarily an advocate for it, or I'm going to say that I am or not. I want to just put it this way. The Inflation Reduction Act's new $7,500 tax credit for EVs could be a big thing for Tesla stock. He mentioned, this is what Garrett Nelson actually mentioned. He talked about how it's kind of like the equivalent of Christmas in August for Elon Musk and Tesla. And he talked about how this is actually going to help them qualify for these tax credits. We're talking about the Model Ys and Model 3s. It's going to benefit a lot of Americans. And they are going to be eligible for the $7,500 EV tax credit, incentivizing them to actually buy these cars. And he mentioned, and this is obviously his opinion, but I just want to at least share this with you because he does have some credibility. That's the fact that he's talking about how Tesla, its price target over the next 12 months would be $1,245 from a $1,125 estimate previously. So he's talking about how there's going to be a lot of upside coming for the future. He's super bullish. He thinks it's going to break all-time highs relatively soon. With that said, if you're talking about a stock split, this would be like, okay, if you were to buy Tesla and there's a stock split around this range, Tesla would be in the high 200s. Then the thing about the stock split, which is a 3-for-1, Tesla could still go all the way up to the 400s, maybe like 450s, going into within the upcoming months, maybe early next year. It still is very possible. So that's a big, big amount of upside a person can make if they were to buy these dips. Am I telling you to do that? The answer is no. It's your choice, your money. But I want to just put it out that this is what the analysts are saying. These are professionals, and their views do have lots of merit behind them. Now, even though Tesla's bullish long-term, short-term still looks pretty bearish. And I want to talk about something else that's important. That's what on Earth the options chain is showing. We could see right now there were an overwhelming amount of calls relative to puts. But right now, it looks like a ton of calls are just getting destroyed, ending up out the money, and a lot of puts are actually out the money as well, but they're slowly coming in the money. So it looks like a lot of market makers are starting to switch their positions. They're starting to short again, and they're getting ready to actually flip their algos to push a lot of stocks in the market down because they're profiting off of these puts. So with that said, the market seems a lot more bearish than bullish. Max pain for Tesla is only $800 around the second week of September. That's often because of the fact that we have the FOMC meeting a week after. So expect some kind of, I would say, more bearish than bullish price action for the markets thanks to the FOMC meeting, and be prepared for the future. The last thing I wanted to talk about real quick is this right here. This person known as Chuck Cook talked about how they basically drove with the full self-driving technology. I thought it was very cool, and they actually talked to Elon Musk about this. So Elon Musk gave a big shout out to the Tesla software / AI team. He gave them all the credit, which is amazing. He gave them the credit, not all the credit. And he talked about the talent being absolutely incredible. He mentioned the fact that they are going to raise prices, and you will be able to actually upgrade your existing car to full self-driving in 2 minutes via the Tesla app. So a lot of big updates are coming. He does expect very, very bright futures. So I also want to agree with what he said. I do agree that the AI team is doing a fantastic job, and this is the future. It's going to be very, very big for people who have disabilities, who can't drive. I think it's a brilliant technology. Now, people have different views about it when it comes to employment and things like that. I understand that, but from a business perspective, this is going to be very lucrative. It's going to lead to lots of profits, lots of money. This is just going to be a multi-trillion-dollar market in the future. So Tesla's making the right moves from a fundamental standpoint, from a business standpoint. This will benefit their investors. So I'm still very bullish for its long term. For the short term, it's not looking the best. It does look like it's going to head towards the 200 EMA relatively soon, within the next, I would say, week or two. So be prepared for that. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and do what you have to do with your own money, and be prepared. All right. So thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.